Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to show you what you can do with all these odd balls of wool. Now that's a lilac, as you can see, and that one's a blue. So I'm going to show you what you can do with these. That's lemon. So sometimes you get left with balls like this after you've done your pom-pom blankets, because I roll all my balls together and make a big ball like that. And then I get left with lots of little pieces. So I'm going to show you what I do with it. Now I've got this nice sparkly mint green. I don't know if you can see how sparkly it is. So again, I got this off John O'Hagan. I will mention him again because he's absolutely a super duper guy for wool. Now you're going to tie your wool either here to this nail or you can tie it here. I tie it here. Remember, it's your blanket. As long as you tie it safe, you can do whatever patterns that you can come up with on these nails. Now, we're going to do a base. I'm only going to do 4 rounds on the base because the top's going to be quite sort of heavyish. So we just do a normal base. Just like this, the way we normally do a base, and by this time you probably know what the base is. So we're going to go up and down around the nails. And again, if you're making your own loom, make sure you have odd and even nails. A lot of people tell me or ask where they're going wrong because they can't get it to come back to this corner. And the first thing I tell them is count your nails. Now, the odd and even rule is odd and even on the top and bottom. Or you can do it the other way around. You can have even numbers of nails up and down the sides and an odd number along the bottom. Come on to our Crafty Twins craft group. It is a free group to join. And we also now have a Crafty Twins 2 where you can come and you can actually sell the items that you've made. If you've made anything from my tutorials, or if you actually just make crafts, you can come into Crafty Twins 2 and you can sell your handmade items. So anyway, that's just got round 1 done. I'm going to come back when I've got my 4th round. Remember, this time I'm only putting 4 rounds on. Now, I've got my 4 rounds on, and to make this little coloured blanket is super easy. So I've done my 4 rounds for the base. I've only done 4 because I'm putting quite a few on this diagonal. Now, these are the colours that I'm going to be using. I've got this white as well. I've got white and lemon. I've got a very light green. You can't see that, but that's a very light green. I've got the same little bit that I've got left from doing the base. And I've got a blue and a lilac. Now, what I did was, you can do these whatever colour you want. I'm going to do 8 back and forward on the nails. You can do a little bit more or you can do a little bit less. It's up to you. Now, I've worked out the amount of pins that I've got of the nails. So I'm going to do 3 blue, 3 lilac, I'm going to do 3 of the dark green, 3 of the light green, 3 of the lemon and 3 of the white. Now you can do it whatever way you want. You can do any combination you want, just to get rid of those little bits. You can even just do it all mixed colours. Now, super simple for this little pet blanket. Go to your second nail. You need to go where you're going to have a crossover section on the base, and that's here. Now we're only going to go on this diagonal. You can go on that diagonal if you want. Even if you've not got it rolled into 4, I'm going to do 4. You can actually just do it but with 1 or 2 and just keep winding. It's up to you. It's only for scrap wool. It's just a little scrap wool blanket. So on this second nail, I'm going to tie my wool. I'll tie it here. And then I'm going to put 8 rounds from this second nail to this second nail. So count nail 1, 2, this one, 1, 2, that way to get that first crossover section. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you think it's too thick, you can do less. If you want to do more, you can. Now move to your next nail and do the same. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got another 8. I'll put one more on. If you come to the end of your wool, just tie it on at your nail and then do your last little row. Just tie it on there. It is only scrap wool. I need to go and get that little ball. It's over there. I'm just going to tie that. It's a great way of using up all your little scraps of wool. So I've got one more to put on that. And then around. So that's got 8. So I'm going to move to my next one. I'm going to do 3. If you've got loads of different colours, you can just use one nail at a time. It's up to you how you do this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now don't worry about any of these edges because these are going to be in the fringe this first lot. So now we're going to get the blue. We're going to do the same. I'm going to do 3 nails of the blue. So there we go. I've got all my colours on that I want. Now I'm going to give you a little tip. How are you going to get your shuttle in and out without catching on all of these threads? Now I've got a super little tip. With your light colours, take a piece of your darker wool. I've got some parts here so what you're going to do, just get some little bits of scrap wool. And in the area where you're not going to be shuttle tying, so in the actual, I'm going to pull this one so you can see it. In the square that's here, this is where you're just going to tie up. I won't need to do that one. So tie it just roughly in the square that you're not going to be shuttle tying in. I won't be shuttle tying in here. This is just to hold it together a little bit. You might think, what a nuisance, but actually, when you start shuttle tying, you're going to be quite thankful that you've done this. Just cut your little ends off. Don't worry if they won't get caught in, because you're going to tie it here, and you're going to tie it here. This one's going to get tied just here. So with this lemon, we'll do the same. I'm just going to find some of the areas in between my crossovers, just to tie it. It is a handy little tip, especially if your wool's quite thick. Tie it in this section. What it's doing is it's separating it out a little bit so that you can get in there. I'm finding trouble with my fingers, so imagine the mess you get into with your shuttle. And you do, because I have done before. I've made these before. I used up a lot of other little scraps before. So what it does is it's bringing it in like this a little bit. I'm going to get some more. You see what it does? It makes it so much easier so that when you come to shuttle tie, that you've got it sort of grouped together a little bit. And then we'll do that one. And it's just going to separate it just a little bit so it makes it easier to tie those cross sections. Now, as you can see here, when you shuttle tie it, you're only going to tie these cross sections here. Now, these little pieces of wool, I'm putting it in, I'm just tying it here so it won't get in the way at all. So I'm just going to tie it. So it's going to make it easier for my shuttle to get up and down. So I'm going to continue to do that, and I'll be back in a minute. So that's it all tied off, just a little bit. This is just to hold it, it's not going to stay there. We will cut these off when we're finished. It's just so that when you put the shuttle through to tie it, it's got room to get through, and you're not going to have to try and struggle to move all the strands back and forward. You've got two choices to tie. You can either tie the individual colours from the top. So if you tie that in purple, tie that in your blue, tie that in your green, tie that one in your mint green, your lemon and your white. If you're going to tie it diagonally, you have to start at the beginning, tie it in your cross, because that's an end, tie it twice, so go through it twice, do it twice. And then you'll just move up to this one, tie this one, move your way along all the cross sections, tie it securely at this end, tie it twice, cut your wool, and then start your next one. That's what you're going to do if you're going to do it in all the individual colours. I'm going to tie it from the back, so I'll have my little green squares, my little green crosses on the top. So it's up to you whether you tie it on the diagonal or if you turn it over and tie it from the back. And that's what I'm going to do. So now you can see through there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And you're going to see where we're going to tie. We're going to tie all these square sections. Now I'll be tying in down from the top left, and I'll come up on the bottom right at this side of this bundle, and then I'll tie that way. Now because we've only got one diagonal, it's going to be easy to tie it in from this side, just straight over here. But to tie this one in, you're either going to have to tie through there and come up on this side, or go down that side and come up this side. So it sort of twists that, holds it in like that. If you just tie it in from there and there, you're not going to catch it. You've got to make sure you catch that. So go in from the top left, but at this part of it, and come up the bottom right, but at this part, so you're actually catching that in there, and then go through there and there to catch that part, like that. So I'm going to go down this section here, down there. Now it shows you why I've tied it, because it's so much easier. Look how super easy that is to get down in there. Now I'm going to come up on the bottom right here, on this side of that wool, so that when we come up, you can see how it is. It's going to tie it up here and then down on this side, and that'll tie that in tight. Now, because it's the end one, I will be tying it twice. I'm going to tie in and out of there twice. Now tie this first knot as tight as you can. Now this will just go in through there. This will become part of the fringing. Don't worry about that little long bit. Catch that bit. Just bring it around and wrap it on a nail. So just bring that around and wrap it on a nail under there out of the way. So I'm going to go down through this top right section here, and I'm going to come out up through the bottom left. Make sure you're not caught on any nails. Now you can either keep your loop like this or you can twist your loop, it's up to you. Just feed your shuttle through that loop and pull it tight like that. So I'm going to do it again because it's on the edge. I don't want my ends coming loose. Up through the bottom right, through the hoop. It's up to you if you twist your hoop or not. Then I'm going to go down the top right and up through that bottom left. Make sure your wool is not caught on any of the nails. That's that little straggly bit that started out with. Shut it properly. There we go. Through the loop and pull it. Now your cross is just a tiny shade thicker here, but it's going to be so much better so you don't get those little strands won't come out. So we're going to move along to the next one. So I'm going to go down through the top left. I'll move it over a little bit. Down through this top left at this side of that bundle. And I'm going to come up on the bottom right at that side of that bundle. Make sure you don't get your wool caught in the nails. Give it a little wiggle. Now make your hoop and go through and pull it tight. And that's that. And I'm going to go through this side, top right, and up through the bottom left. Make sure you don't get caught in any nails. Through the hoop and pull it tight. Now do it again because it's on the end. This is the end and I do not want those strands to come loose. If they come loose, they become a choking hazard and you don't want that. You don't need to double tie all the rest of the inside of it if you don't want to, but make sure you tie these edges twice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to tie up my blanket and I'll come back and I'll show you what it's like when I finish tying it. So I've got it all tied and I tied it from this side. Now all I have to do now is just remove those little pieces of wool that I had holding all these strands together until I got it tied. Just be careful you don't cut through your strands. Now I'm just taking these off. So I'll zoom in and I'll just show you how I cut these little pieces off. I've still got one here. You see, it wasn't in the way of my actual tying up, it was just holding it all together until I got it tied. Just put your scissors in and pull it up a little bit and then just snip them off. So we'll turn the blanket around the right way. Let's go that way. We'll zoom back down again. So I'm just going to take these little ends part, take the little straggly bits off that we've cut to hold all that at the end. There we go. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit so you can actually see it. So there we go, that's it all tied in. That's the way it looks. It's lovely actually, it's turned out really nice this one a little bit. So when you're tying it up with your shuttle, it does help when you tie just some of the parts here of those big strands to hold it in a little bit. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to move that down there a little bit. All you have to do now is cut it off the frame. I don't want to cut the wire of my web tram. So just cut between here for the base. Like that. Now what you will have to do is, these parts here, you're just going to have to put your scissors down inside the nail and carefully cut through like that. You just pull this part up. Take that little knot out. I'll move that tied in like that. Just pull these parts up and cut through like that. You can trim all this up once you've got it off the board. So for the base, just cut through between the nails. Be careful you don't cut these. Not at that part anyway. You're just going to cut it all off the base. Pull these parts up, it's the easiest way I found to do it. And cut through like that. And tidy it all up in a little minute once we get it off. So just do that and cut it off your base. Pull those parts up. Slide your scissors down through the middle. And just snip it. And you'll be able to get off any of the little knots that you've got on there where you've tied it. So I'm going to continue just to cut it all off the frame. As you cut it, this will soften a little bit. So it'll all just be all nice, won't look so tight. It'll all slacken off. So I'm going to cut it off the frame and I'll come back and I'll show you what it's like. That's that all done. Just a quick little tutorial just to show you how you can make a little scrap blanket with your scrap balls of wool that you've got. Just remember, you don't need to do it up and down 8 times. You can do it a little bit less if you like. You can use more colours, but this makes it nice and compact, and it's absolutely, I love it. It's turned out well, this one. The last one I made, I just did it in red and white. But there you go, and that's that side. I'm going to give it a little trim up, and you can still see all the colours through this side, through the back. And the back looks just as nice with the 4. Remember, we just did the 4 rounds for the base. That takes some of the weight out of it. Now it's still really, really light. As long as you please do what I said and tie twice all around the blanket. Thank you for watching. I will tidy this up and take a picture of it and show you it all finished. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment box. And if you leave a comment, just take a few extra seconds just to hit that subscribe button. There is no monetary gain for me if I get a lot of subscribers. It just gives me moral support, and it's great support for my channel. And it keeps me making tutorials. So until the next time, thank you all very much. Happy crafting, and I'll see you all again the next time. Goodbye.